Hey, if you've got chronic headaches or migraines and you're sick of being told that it's just stress, just hormones, or just bad luck, then this video is for you. Because in the next 5 minutes, I'm going to explain 5 key things that will change the way you think about your headaches and your migraines. Firstly, why triggers like wine and stress are often not the real problem. And then, what the difference is between a trigger and a driver of your migraines. Number 3, how the upper neck can wind up a vital part of your nervous system. 4th, why that usually doesn't show up on a scan. And finally, why we work out and how we work out, that's what's driving your pain. G'day, I'm Chris Fawcett here from the Headache and Pain Management Centre here in Annerley. And today I want to share with you something that a lot of people with chronic headaches and migraines are never properly told about. Chances are you've done everything right. You've seen the GP, you've seen the brain experts, you're tracking your sleep, you're doing the headache diaries, you're skipping that glass of wine, and you're trying to relax. Just like everyone else is, I guess. Everyone tells you your migraines are just your hormones, stress, or just bad luck. And yet somehow your whole life still revolves around the next attack. You're second guessing whether you can commit to dinner, work, family stuff, weekends away, and a lot of the time it's just easier to cancel rather than feel like you're letting people down. And let's be honest, that is exhausting. But that's what we see in the clinic way too often. People that feel like they're just managing their life around their migraines instead of understanding what's driving them and taking back control. And that's the bit I want to talk about next. Because what if it's not the wine? What if it's not the hormones or the busy week at work? If you keep managing all those things but it still doesn't feel like you've nailed down the cause, then this will help you. Imagine your nervous system as a bucket. Stress, wine, poor sleep, hormones, weather changes. These are the things that are often the final drop of water that makes the bucket overflow. Triggers themselves don't create a migraine out of thin air. They just tip over a system that was already wound up just like a jack-in-a-box. Because let's face it, people living with headache and migraine are already the most resilient people out there. If your system wasn't already on the edge, a lot of those symptoms wouldn't bother you anywhere near as much. So the question isn't, hey, what triggered this migraine? The real question is, what's the reason your system is so cranky in the first place? And for a lot of people, one of the biggest missing pieces is the upper neck. So what's actually going on? I'll try and keep it as simple as I possibly can. At the base of the skull, right where the head meets the neck, somewhere up in through here or somewhere in through here, there are 3 joints that are really important for your neck movement, and it's telling you where your head is in space. These joints feed directly into a command center in your brainstem at the bottom of your brain. To make it easier, we call this area the headache hub. Now this area matters so much because it's like the Bowen Hill spaghetti junction of your nervous system. The great crossroad where major signals from your body converge and get directed to different places down different paths. Now, if the upper neck is stiff, overloaded, or it's not moving well, it will send constant messages into that hub, and over time, it becomes so sensitized and so full of information overload that it stops reading the information properly. And what starts to happen is that it behaves like a crazy smoke alarm. It goes off just because you're making toast, or sometimes before you've even pushed the bread down. At times, the brain isn't all that good at being able to localize where the problem's actually coming from. So an issue that's coming from a place like the top of your neck might be felt as a headache, jaw pain, or at worst, a massive migraine. And once that hub is on high alert, normal things like a glass of wine, a rough night's sleep, stress, or a busy week can suddenly get treated like a major threat, and that's when the headache or migraine fires. So in a lot of cases, the wine, the fatigue, or the stress wasn't really the problem. It was just the final thing that tipped over a system that was already irritated. And so that's why just avoiding triggers doesn't always fix it. So unless you calm the system down that's driving the sensitivity in the first place, all you're really doing is you're stuck managing the overflow. Now this next bit is really important. This sensitive hub doesn't show up on an MRI or a CT scan. If you've been told that your scans are clear, it doesn't mean that you're imagining your pain. It just means that the thing driving it might not be visible on that type of test. Because often what we're dealing with here is not some sort of dramatic structural problem. It's more about how the joints are functioning, how the nerves are behaving, and how sensitized the system has become. This is what happens. The cables are working fine, but when the firing through the cables isn't fine, that's where so many people start feeling dismissed. They've got real problems, they've got real symptoms, real disruption, real loss of quality of life. And yet you look at the scan and it says, nothing major here. But when we start testing properly in the clinic, that's when we can often find that exact spot that switches on your familiar headache. Because once we can identify it accurately, we can work out if the neck is part of the story. And when it is, and when we correct it properly, that's often when symptoms start to change. Now this isn't just theory. This is what we see every week here in Annerley and what we've done for more than 13 years. We see Brisbane locals that have given up the things they love, living like they're walking on eggshells. And once that upper neck driver is addressed properly, they can stop obsessing over triggers and start getting parts of their life back. That's why on day one at our clinic here in Annerley, our first consultation is a full hour. We don't just guess, we don't just give you generic exercises, we rule in or out the neck as a driver of your pain. And if it's 100% not your neck, we're going to be straight with you and tell you straight away. This isn't about cracking your neck like a glow stick. It's a steady as she goes approach using a very careful neck assessment. Precise, gentle hands-on with no rough stuff. Specific strengthening so it stays calm and strong. And finally, calming down that sensitive headache hub. That's the goal, that's what we want to get done. Now, a fair warning for you though, okay? If you want a 5-minute massage or a 1-minute miracle cure that you saw on YouTube, we're not for you. But if you're a Brisbane local who's sick of managing and is ready to commit to sorting the cause, we're built for you. Because if nothing changes, where are you in 12 months? You're still cancelling plans, you're still living cautiously, you're still hoping the next medication will work when 10 others haven't? Or are you finally getting your life back? We start with a free triage call to see if we can help. So if this sounds like your story and you're tired of just managing symptoms rather than understanding what's really behind your headaches and your migraines, book the free call. Let's rule your neck in or out properly, and let's make your headaches and migraines history. Cheers and bye for now.